kutu oshe.
Ewe kutu oshe.
Kana rashe matushamane.
Kana rashe matushamane.
Ranihi mu makwara.
Ranihi mu makwara.
Ewa hapeya karichi a.
Ewa hapeya karichi a. Ewe kutu oshe.
Kana rashe matushamane.
Good
job, see? That's it. Yeah, so awesome. You're all good. So just keep in mind that doesn't sound like Spanish at all. Nothing like Spanish.
Not even.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like, because Chocheño developed independently in this part of the world and has been spoken in this part of the world independently on its own for thousands of years. So just keep that in mind, that there's no similarities.
So it's like a dead language you read.
It was, well, I always say sleeping language, because if all the, everything's there, all of the notes are there, all of the recordings are there.
So it's kind of like gone, but then it comes.
Yeah, it was gone for about 70 years, and then now it came back. So we're fortunate, just like how you're fortunate with your culture's language as well.
Right, absolutely.
So something else that I want to talk about is, like, in the cemetery here at Mission Dolores, there are 11,000 people that are buried here.
Okay, did everyone just hear that?
Yeah.
Does this look like 11,000 graves?
No.
Please listen up.
So, do you kind of hear where those kids are playing on the other side of the wall? So that's part of the Mission Dolores Academy, our elementary school, and all underneath the schoolyard, that's still part of the cemetery. So just, yeah, it's a weird situation. So
it is a weird situation.
You know, surprisingly, it actually happened.
What happened?
He said, what if you fall and then fall into a grave? Well, because it's hollow ground, the ground caves in pretty often back there. So and we always have to put new concrete in, and it's always in the shape of coffins. So it's a weird situation. So when I give you a chance in a few minutes to walk around, just look through the gate. Don't go back there, but just look through the gate, and you'll see some of those coffin-shaped.
Yeah, we'll show you guys.
Yeah. And
suddenly pretty grateful for our playground, huh?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
About now.
We showed you that. Yeah.
We wear that the other way.
Okay, fourth grade, let's do this.
Some of the people whose stones are up here, they're really back there. Like that stone right there, you can't see it. That's Mr. Najaro. He's the first Mexican mayor of San Francisco. His stone's there, but he's really underneath the basketball courts. So it's a weird situation.
Vincent, one of the kids just asked me if it's really expensive to be buried here now. So can you comment on when people stopped being?
The only thing is, so burials stopped here in the early 1900s, but we have space actually for one more person. Oh, seriously,
who's it gonna be?
See that one right there? There's where the flowers are coming out of that raised planter.
Yeah.
So that was purchased as a place to house coffins, but it was never used. So technically we can bury one more person.
Has that grave been reserved, if you will, or?
It was reserved, but the person just basically chose not to be buried. So it's no longer belonging to them. So it's still just an empty space. So
anybody can get it.
Yeah, we're thinking of auctioning it off or something, raise money for the mission. But there's so that's one place that there's still space. But yeah, those are. No, the priests are buried inside of the church. But so this is the oldest part of the cemetery where we're at right now, and this is where over 6,000 California Indian people are buried at. Mostly Ohlone people, but also Miwok. Well, the thing is that back then Europeans got stone markers like these that lasted for a long time, and Indian people back then got wooden markers. And after the 1906 earthquake, you all heard of that, right?
Yes.
The wooden markers were used by people back then as firewood. So for about 100 years, there was no recognition to any of the 6,000 Indian people buried here. But we're trying to change that now. I'll show you how. Excuse me. So please don't touch it. I'm the only one that gets permission to. Please don't step on it. But this is a grave marker that we put up about 3 years ago. to my ancestors, my family. And they're the first generation of my family to come into the missions. But a few generations after them came to the missions as well. And the main thing that I want you to notice is at the dates, 1766 and 1764, they were born in a world before Spain was even here in California. They were born before what a lot of Maloney people call the invasion. That means Spanish people coming here and occupying our lands. So they were born in a world that was free of Spanish influence, that was completely a traditional world to them. And I'll tell you a little bit about their story. So the woman, her name is Jacques Bachman, and Jacques Bachman is my great-great-great-great-great-grandmother.
Do you have a Chichenyo name?
No, I don't. Because of the effects of colonization, a lot of us have Western names. But for the first time in a very, very, very long time, we're seeing new babies being born now with Chochenyo names again. So my cousin, she just had a baby, and his name is Ishmen, which is the word for son. And so we're
Son like son, baby boy, or son like son who's not?
So yeah, so we're seeing this change happen now, and I know when I have children, when that happens, that my kids would have Chochenyo names. So we're seeing a shift happen now for the first time in a very long time, which is very, very, very
So you really are encouraging everybody that you know to bring back the.
Exactly, my family, yes.